Good day, mate. How are you? Good, yeah? Me? Crikey, I had an awesome time driving the outbacks of Australia, mate. And the camera of choice was the DJI Action 3. Now, if you are torn between getting this or the GoPro Hero 11, in this episode, I'm gonna compare the two just briefly, hopefully to help you decide on which is the action cam for you. Alright. What's up fam, Rahim here and welcome back to another episode. Now I'm glad to be back because I want to talk about these two action cams because I know you guys out there are looking to get either one of these, especially where Black Friday is right around the corner. Now I know I'm late to the game, but I just really wanted to understand these two action cams so I can give you my best opinion of them and so hopefully help you make a better decision. I've had these action cams for around 2 months and I'm gonna compare them in 5 simple areas, which is the stabilization, slow-mo, image quality, ease of use, and then the price. So a few things before I start is that this is not a full in-depth review because there are already tons of review out there. I just wanna compare to you the differences and some of the things that I've learned along the way using them, right? And the next thing is that I'll always have the GoPro on this side while I'll have the DJI Action 3 on this side, right? So it makes it easy for comparison. I'm gonna start off with the most important thing that we all wanna know about action cams, which is the stabilization, okay? So the GoPro 11 comes with Hyper Smooth. Now the thing about Hyper Smooth is that it is a stabilization which will need to read the gyro data and then crop in your image to have it floating and always smooth. But the thing is, that's cropping in. Now if you do boost, there'll be further cropping in of the image. So if you are unsure on which type of stabilization to use, you can always turn on auto boost, but it will not be reflected in the image in the screen itself, okay? Instead, it's a post processing where after you have shot that footage, the system will use the gyro data and crop in, crop out how much stabilization is to be applied. Then for the DJI Action 3, there is rock steady and horizon steady. Only 2 types of stabilization. Rock steady is good enough for most situations to smoothen things out, but if you always needed the horizon to be locked, then that is that mode, horizon steady, right? So the thing here is actually both of them do have a form of horizon lock. What that means is practically with both cameras, even if you were to tilt to vertical in recording, of course, and go full 360, right, the horizon will still be leveled, right? That is the amazing thing about this new action cams, and they have this kind of stabilization going on, okay? For both action cams, if you wanted them in horizon lock, now for the GoPro, you will have to go to the linear plus setting, right? That's the field of view, which is not actually part of the stabilization, but it is a must to do in order to get that horizon lock, okay? So it will actually de-warp the image. Same goes with the horizon steady of the DJI. Now I don't have exact comparisons of side to side image of the stabilization, but in my opinion, I already find that GoPro has the best stabilization, right? Be it bright day or even low lighting conditions, right? GoPro has it better. The Action 3, only the perfect stabilization comes from a good bright day. But if in low light, okay, I show you this footage, I think it's because of the slow shutter in auto settings. The stabilization can't quite decide on how it wants to manage it, and it seems to the output is a bit jittery, right? That's just how I want to describe it. The win goes to, for stabilization, goes to GoPro. The field of view of the stabilization, I'd give it to the DJI Action Cam. The DJI field of view is wider than the GoPro. Alright, moving on to slow-mo. Now both are equally impressive. Guys, action cams 240 frames per second. Now that is super silky slow-mo. Although Action 3 only does it at 1080p, enough, full HD, right? But the GoPro does it at 2.7K, much higher resolution. I don't really actually record in 2.7K because it's heavy, especially at 240 frames per second. It's gonna be very heavy file size, right? So both have a win for the slow-mo, but of course if you want more pixels, then it's gonna be the GoPro. Now for the image quality, and I'm not talking about stills, right? No, I don't really take stills with action cams, but for video wise, of course, the win, I'd say go to GoPro. I've had GoPros for a long time, the 3, 5, 7, 8, and then the 11, right? So in my opinion, that the colors of a GoPro is much better. The kind of well balanced, vibrant, and auto modes are always the output is always nice, right? And right now, from what I find from the GoPro, is that there is more detail in comparison to the DJI, right? Detail, and also the exposure wise is stable. I mean, if the conditions are changing, there's lesser hunting of exposure with the GoPro versus the DJI. Now DJI's image is a bit soft. I'd say slightly lacks detail, right? If you were to really pixel peep. But at some point also, I'm not really sure whether is it lack of detail or is the DJI myopic, right? Some YouTubers have reported that the DJI needs a bit of tuning in the lens portion, right? The focus is slightly out, right? But I find it's okay as long as it's a very bright day. I get a lot of detail in, and so I don't really see that it's whether a case of myopia with the DJI. Okay, that's just my opinion about image quality. GoPro has always had it versus Action 3, close enough, right? But oh yeah, and anyways, it does hunt the exposure a bit more, right? You see slightly bright, slightly dark, that kind of thing. It keeps running a bit slightly unstable, but generally, if the conditions are fair, then it's okay, right? Good enough. Okay, so here I come to ease of use. Now the GoPro, of course, it seems to be like not an exact comparison, right? But I'd say the GoPro is more to me like an Apple, as in the brand, right? Apple, while this is an Android. Why so? Because the GoPro actually has evolved to be something very basic use, but now it is advanced, but yet still maintain its user friendliness. Okay, what I mean by user friendliness is that when you go into settings and you want to toy with changing certain settings, you actually already have multiple presets ready for you. Normal shooting, cinematic, and then there's also super slow-mo, right? Things are already preset for you, and you can edit individual presets. It will not change when you change out the battery. And to top up on the ease of use of the GoPro is that there are shortcuts on the screen itself, up to 4, right? Basically, you could preset your shortcuts, but from what is already set on screen is like you could have easy tap and just change the slow-mo, stabilization settings, field of view, and there's even a zoom in, zoom out function, right? That's digital zoom. I wouldn't toy with that. I'd just rather do it in post. DJI kinda is more of a professional camera. From where I look at it, you can add custom settings, right? In the form of even the naming feels to me like a professional camera style where you have C1, C2. Okay, so I've seen that there is option to add your settings as a C1 and make it a preset. And here's the thing about the settings is that what I love about the DJI is that there is an exposure meter. Okay, whatever the changes that you make with the settings, it will not only show you the image, but there'll be an exposure meter of whether you are neutrally exposed, overexposed, or underexposed. Now the reason I love about that is because if you're standing out in the hot sun, you can barely see the screen. You also cannot really gauge whether your image is it overexposed or underexposed. Then that's where the win goes to DJI for that. In the settings, you have the option to choose flatter color profiles, where the GoPro has flat color settings, right? They call it that. And then the DJI is called the Sunnylife, right? That's to give you more color correction options, right? Now GoPro has 10-bit color as of this time. Okay, I'm not gonna even try to explain it. You can go look it up, 8-bit versus 10-bit colors. But I have heard that the DJI in a future update will allow up to 10-bit colors. Okay, but then again, the GoPro has 10-bit colors, but it's only limited to, if I'm not wrong, the 5.3K and 4K resolution settings. Now for their ease of use on the field, I normally have my own exposure settings, and definitely for both of them, I need to use ND filters. The ND filters that fit the 9 and 10 will also fit the 11, right? That's excellent. Anyways, I've loved how they work, which is as simple as just pull and twist, right? And it pops right out. And then there's the action tree, where it's actually a counterclockwise unscrewing of the filter and then screwing it back on. I kinda don't like this kind of system. It seems very secure, but because of the screw threads, sometimes like if you're in a rush, it's not exactly gonna align perfectly, and if you force it in, you're just gonna strip the threads. So that's not preferred, but okay, I've been very careful to deal with the filters for this. By the way, as I'm talking about filters, now if you want to check out Freewell Filters, they make for both these action cams, and I feel the design is very smart, especially for the GoPro, right? Because it's not just a normal filter, but the casing itself is a heatsink. Now, I don't want to bore you with the details on that. Go and check out the links in the description, right, to get filters for these two action cams. So now let's talk about mounting the action cams. We all know that GoPro makes thousands of mounting options, right? And they are all based on 3M tape, which will be bloody impossible to take out once you've glued them on. Not that easy, of course. There's always the option of using lighter fluid and all that, right? But GoPro's mounting options have always been great, and I will always see them as the pioneers of the action cam mounts, right? So with the GoPro 11, you have these tabs actually which are hidden away and magnetic. So once you pull them out, they will just straight fit right to their existing mounts. Now the thing about these mounts is that they have kind of become the industry standard, right, of how an action cam mount has to be. And so I'm just looking at it as companies are going around it so that the consumer doesn't need to change so many mounts. You can actually use the existing GoPro mounts, but with special tweaks. Now what DJI has done is they've made this kind of mount, right? It is a magnetic base with clips, right? Now with these clips, you can actually just straight out attach your action cam, align it, and just make sure you clip it in place, right? So what's so good about this magnetic mount is it is so easy to change, right? Yeah, I know GoPro has this kind of base mount where it is separated from the actual base, then you can just clip unclip, but nothing really in terms of time, right? If you're rushing to do stuff, where I did find myself in some situations that I really appreciated. This was on the ground, all I need to pick it up and pop it on top of the car, and I'm good to go. It is really just take and done. Oh, and here's another thing, I really like the screw gadget of the DJI, right? It's just easy to use versus GoPro that has this kind of shape. I've been using it for a long time, and you can only get so much torque to tighten this, right? You will find that sometimes it gets loose or the camera is not tight enough. Then they have like tools provided to twist this thing or whatsoever. Hey, this is so simple. Just you really can tighten this fella up. And here's another thing. Now, if you are a shooter that in one session you'd like two kinds of aspect ratios, right? For example, you may be shooting a scene in landscape format, and then you want to change it up to vertical for social media, right? Instagram, Reels, Shorts, and all that, right? TikTok. Now, with the DJI, you will need to use the cage, right? This cage thingy that will only will then give you the option to mount it vertically, right? Now, for the GoPro, they don't have such options in the form of the mount, but actually, right, GoPro 11 is a new sensor, which is a 8x7. Now, if you choose to record in 8x7 format, what that will give you is an actual 8x7 format, but that's where you will need to do the post-processing of cropping it in to 16:9, right? Or from the 8.7, you wanna make it to a vertical format. Now that is the pro part. I'd want to give that to GoPro because it's all-in-one, right? Within the camera itself, you shoot in one format, you can have two different options. But then again, not everyone wants to do the post-processing, especially the cropping of the different. If you have 10 different scenes, then you'll need to post-process 10 different footages, right? Yeah, I know you can always cut and paste, but the point is, where in the current, right, as you're shooting, you have something that you want 16:9, shoot it in 16:9, then hey, I want to also vertical format, then probably if it's easier for you to just reshoot with, and by changing it up to vertical format, then that's by your means, alright, if you wanna do it that way. Okay, that's just about the ease of use. Now for that, I'd give the win to DJI because really it makes for really literally snappy changes, right, in your mounting options. Okay, so now let's talk about the pricings of these two action cams. During the launch, GoPro was about like $100 difference, right, compared to the DJI. But right now, I'm checking out GoPro's website and they are having a Black Friday savings, right? You can get it for $349.98 and that includes a 1-year GoPro subscription. Not bad, this price. The Action 3 standard combo is going for $355 and there's no Black Friday discount here. Very competitive price. So it is very clear that GoPro is on a strategy to win on the pricing. Black Friday is coming, guys. Let me know what you're getting and put it in the comments so that you can go and poison others, right? Anyways, I have already shared with you as much as I can about my experience with these two action cams, where I'd say ease of use is gonna be the GoPro with very simple layout, shortcuts and all that, right? But if you do want a bit more professional control and play more with the settings with an okay stabilization, then that's gonna be the DJI, right, Action 3, and of course the easier mounting options. Okay, that's how I'd like to summarize both of these action cams. Now, if you ask me, end of the day, what is my preference, guys, is gonna be the DJI, right? Or I'm biased, DJI, because DJI this, DJI that. It's not about that, guys. I have loved GoPros all this while, alright? This is my first DJI action cam, right? I've already mentioned I got multiple GoPros and this is my first DJI action cam, and after experiencing the ease of use with this kind of mounting options, I want to go forward with this, right? I already bought myself a few and I got both. So I got the mounting options of the GoPro, combine it with the DJI, and yeah, DJI is gonna be the winner here. Raim, are you gonna forget all about the issues about the action cam? Guys, the image quality is already as good as it gets. There's no really bad one here, okay? I'm willing to accept a slightly softer image. Stabilization wise, I already saw how good or not good it is, but because I know I just need better lighting conditions, right? Low light is just shit stabilization, right? So that's where how simple I wanna summarize why I choose the DJI instead of the GoPro. Okay, so anyways, guys, the video is getting too long. Raim always targets a very, I want it to be short, but sometimes I just get too much to talk about. Anyways, I've had a lot of fun doing this review. I've had a lot of fun over in Australia. Probably, mate, I'm gonna share with you guys all my footage soon. Alright, that I got about 100 plus going to 200 gigs of footage that I will need to put together. Probably is gonna be a DJI Mini 3 by DJI Action 3 kind of a feature of these two, camera and drone. Okay, so anyways, that's coming up, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up right here. Now, if you've liked this episode, do give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you are not already, chat with me. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Pilots, as always, I'll see you in the skies. Peace.